Hey, what's up? It's a new day, it's a new life. It's the last Uchiha here. And really fucking nervous right now, not gonna lie. Another first for me, we're going to be doing a react video. I don't know if you're familiar with these, but you react to a video on YouTube. And I watch a lot of them. Soul Illuminati and different people make them. And they do a really good job, fantastic stuff. And you know, the people are great artists and creators who do that, and you know, congrats to them. So I only have one camera, so what I have to do is I'm going to focus this one on my face, my ugly mug here, and I'm going to watch the video, and then what I'm going to do is edit. I downloaded the video as well that we're watching today, and I'm going to edit it in so that you can we'll watch it together, sort of thing. And this is my first time reacting to it. That's why I mentioned Soul Illuminati's name. I thought it was a really good idea to always not watch them before you go into it. Some people might watch them scripted, I don't know, and that's fine too. But in this case, I'm going in without having watched this video. So today we actually have an interesting video from another YouTuber, CashNasty, an incredible entertainer and YouTuber who has a couple channels going on, and I encourage you to watch all these YouTubers that I name in the video. They're fantastic people, and people to learn from, and people to be entertained when you're watching YouTube. But anyways, Cash had a situation happen to him. He's a rather, I guess, large YouTuber, and he, you know, tweets some stuff, and he's a fan of some sports teams and some particular players. And you know, there's lots of issues around right now in terms of power, if I can be perfectly honest, and in terms of who can speak, who can say what, and how their language is policed and different things like that. And I guess Cash made some tweets. I don't really know the full deal, you know, thing or whatever. He made some tweets. He's at a basketball game, and he got ejected from the basketball game. And I don't know, he was also wearing a shirt. It looks like he's wearing a shirt that addresses one of the players on it or something like that. It says something like, I'm wearing a shirt today that says, you know, young and reckless or whatever, right? So like everyone wears shirts that says shit, you know what I'm saying? I don't think that's a big deal. And I'm certainly not young, and I carefully weigh my decisions, so I'm not that reckless either. But so we're going to get into this here, and what I did was, you know, while I was eating breakfast there, because I got to go see the doctor. Doctors were all fucking closed last night. I don't understand what's going on. They say at the internet they're open until 7 or 8 p.m. They close at 3 p.m. You know, our emergency rooms are closing, but we're always causing emergencies in other countries. We don't have money for healthcare, but always money for war and police. Makes no fucking sense. But back to, you know, what I was doing. I read a little shit today, a little bit of social theory or whatever. This guy, Giorgio Agamben, I hope I'm saying that right. I learned this a couple years ago. It's been a while now. It's not fresh, but I watched a little video. So we're going to be talking about the state of exception. Why that's a big deal is I live in London, Ontario, Canada. You know, I exist on stolen native land, to be perfectly honest, and there was like, you know, over 600 different native communities and different traditions and ways of life that existed here long before colonization and stuff. And basically what the state did was come here and say, well, we're just going to take all of this and we're going to create a wonderful world, but in the process we're going to exempt ourselves. You know, there's an initial act of violence to found the state, right, in colonization, in genocide, and all the processes that came out of that to start, you know, colonial capitalism and this sort of mode of social organization we have now. So you know, the state exempted themselves. We're like, we're good. And the communities that the state represented, so, you know, lots of settler colonial people, were given social power out of that, and they also, you know, got to apply the exception, but also, you know, not have the exception applied to them when it could otherwise be. So it sounds kind of complicated and a big deal, but why I'm doing this is because, like, y'all can spend $20,000 at a school, and, you know, teachers who are struggling to survive can try to teach you in overcrowded classrooms and stuff like that. Or we can talk directly, and we can use this sort of stuff in our lives to change the world, to better understand things. And even though we speak a different language and we're coming at things from a different social location, a different position, I think if we have these conversations, we'll come to some same shared understandings, and we'll want to do some shit about it, or something will happen, or maybe we'll just go hoop after. I don't know. But whatever it is, so we're going to do this. And what I'm going to do is, because I, again, only have one camera, I'm just going to watch it as much as I can and then save my reaction and thoughts till the end. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a couple pauses and some comments, but the more important stuff that I want to hit, I'm going to touch on with a little note and then try to get it as we continue. So I'm going to start the vid, and I think you can hear it because I'm putting it through my speakers right now.
It's like the third time had security come get me in the game.
Third time you've seen security in this game apparently already.
This is my third time doing this, man. Oh man. Why you third time tonight? Oh, you on social media. Yeah, I know you.
Social media. Interesting, right? Security knows about social media. I've been at protests and they know about that kind of stuff. I'm just gonna say quickly, I'm at social protests and stuff like that, and security knows my name, you know, on social media, from social media, or they know like where I live in the city and shit like that. How does a security officer know that kind of stuff before you even go to a game, first of all? Like what's going on there? But let's continue here. Anthem, and he's walking, he's doing some stuff.
What's good, everybody? God, actually, y'all in every fucking dimension here, boy. It's crazy as hell. You loving it. I know, it's crazy though. We about to head to the Galleria. This is the biggest mall in Dallas. You guys know today. Yeah.
I like Mal, by the way. I want to hang out with these guys, play some basketball. I follow you too, Mal.
Where we going?
To the biggest mall Dallas has to offer.
I mean,
yeah, I ain't got money like y'all, so I don't. Man.
Hell, yeah. Flight. Yeah. Flight. Yeah. Yeah. Damn. Boy, I look at light skin, turn that thing on. Shit.
You look light skin?
Yeah, turn that thing on. Like, no, yeah, get the fuck away from that. Guys know today is one of the probably the most important day of life, dog.
Yeah, that's one thing. Maybe I should stop right there. So one thing I do know about CashNasty is he's a huge supporter of particular athletes and stuff like that, and teams or whatever. I would say more athletes, because sometimes he, you know, likes different teams and stuff, which, you know, people are all over the place with that shit. I don't give a fuck. But he likes this. He likes basketball, man. And what's wrong with that? You know what I'm saying? This guy, you know, like he's made his living doing what he wants in life, and it's an admirable one. And I'm like a 34-year-old fucking Canadian over here. Like, I watch the guy's videos and I'm like, man, I get inspired. So he wants to go to a basketball game. This is great. Maybe he tweeted about it. That's cool. Maybe he said some shit about a player. That's okay, right? Because like, while all this is going on, we have a world of like crazier shit that's going on. And I'm going to be perfectly honest, there's like, you know, people carrying torches down the street and doing all types of crazy shit in institutions of power and like controlling people's lives and stuff. And they have a license to say whatever the fuck they want. And in fact, they have academics. Like there's this one guy, Jordan Pearson. Don't check him out, but I'm just going to say he's an idiot. And he doesn't even understand what he's talking about. And he just gets a platform, man. The guy can just talk and talk and talk. And he's putting lives at risk. Like, you know, he's actively advocating dehumanizing people and then using institutional power to censor people. And then also trying to eliminate critical fields of thought that would question those sorts of moves and that sort of behavior and ideology. So that's some shisty ass shit. They get away with it all the time. Sorry, I'm kind of still shy here. But people trying to police cash and communities like cash. I don't understand what that's about. So let's continue the video.
Ron James set up the church made.
Oh, it's there they are.
Yeah. Important to you. It's important, dog. It's a countdown, y'all. Countdown, bro.
Important day for him.
Man. I'm nervous, y'all. I ain't gonna lie to you.
That negative about LeBron. I'm just letting this all right.
Bro, let me get the moment, bro. Bro, when this thing start, I'm gonna hang it up, plaque it. It's gonna, bro. It's gonna go old. Just look back on time. Like, LeBron, sign that thing.
Ari Kyoto, player stuff. I love all players, man.
Now he wanna shoot me. Everything I smoke, you can smell it from afar, baby girl. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Wait a minute.
Did they got him?
I'm kind of limited to watching this whole thing. I don't want to fast forward something important because I can't see with the little window. I'm just playing this directly off a download, you know? I hope that most of the videos are shocking. I really want to see the event and stuff. So I'm happy you get some shit.
I don't even. You rock?
Yeah, I rock.
I give him a W. How about you take it, Mal? What you give these?
It's tough for me. I couldn't.
But this is half a flu game. These are cold.
Yeah, it's like we half a compliment. I mean.
Yeah, and shit half price. Yeah.
Yeah, say hi.
Everything trash. Boy, I feel like Joe Button over here, man.
Where you want to go?
Not with this one. Pump it up. This is what the
Camera shot.
would look like if they was to drop
Didn't want to stay on the desk.
Then get to the Optimus, the all black Optimus Prime. I was thinking about copping these right here, y'all. They actually look nice, bro. I got the same ones on right now.
Dude, look at that, go with the Cavs jersey.
Facts. These eggplants right here, dog. They look alright, though.
Yeah, I ain't come over here with no jokes. A nice little Lego jersey, you know.
What the fucking Lego going on with that ball?
Man, I just get a Kevin compliment, man. Hold it down, man.
Look at Skittles, huh? That's a dog right here,
Look
dog.
like the weather report at the bottom, you know, where it show you.
Oh, that hurricane coming through.
You know what I'm saying? But I like these shoes, though. Don't get that twisted.
Dub.
Man, this guy. All right.
That's a
Of
dub.
course.
I do like these right here, though.
Shoes.
These caught my attention.
They are clear. That's clean. Oh, man.
Wham. Like,
I got 14 minutes left on my camera. There's 11 minutes left on this video. I'm gonna have to fast forward a little bit, Cash. Sorry, man. It's just the shoe part. It's just the shoe part. All right. Everything that you have to say in relevance to the events and everything. I don't want to exclude that whatsoever.
Today's
So
the day I put on
you're putting the shoes on.
some of my most prized possession, LeBron James.
Okay, so maybe that's kind of relevant. You're putting on important shoes too.
We
I'm
finally
glad I
do it,
guess I
Malcolm.
didn't fast forward that. This man's, you know, he's getting
Man, wait
all
a
geared
minute.
up for this game.
this is called helping out your friend, man.
Mal's even okay.
That's my nigga put
Shoes.
dog.
Shirt,
Gotta make sure you get this serious, man.
support.
I live with it
That's
every
what I
day.
actually
I have the COVID signature, so if I can help you get LeBron, for the sleep a little easier, you know what I'm saying?
Alright, guys. So you got my.
Yeah, missus, I like how y'all took the time right here. This thing, looked like almost thought it was printed.
Can't miss this.
Can't miss it, man.
What?
The nastiest tea.
LeBron, come on, bro. Please, bro.
I know you see me over here.
Mal.
You cannot pass me up.
Cannot!
I'm here.
I'm not doing no work.
We
And
here.
I'm close behind you. Come on now.
Come on, bro.
Don't make me act. It make me act up more than I need to get this signature.
Now I need 4 people, 4 arrows, bro.
LeBron.
4 arrows.
Ain't time, y'all.
Yo, you need 4 hours. Send me some tickets,
Y'all
fam.
got to know how I've been anxious for this.
Drive
I've been
out
nervous
there or
all day
whatever.
for it, bro. I just
Wear a
woke up, went to
t-shirt.
sleep, thinking about it, dream about it.
Play.
My whole entire year on YouTube, I praise LeBron. Every year, man. First day one. This means a lot to me, dog. Biggest LeBron James fan on YouTube.
Breathe slow, my guy. Breathe slow.
Stop the biggest, bro.
I'm gonna stop in 1 quick second. You can have that title, Cash, but just do you. You know, like that's what I really want to see. You have the biggest title, LeBron fan, and all that. I find you most entertaining and most awesome and inspiring to learn from when you're just trying to better yourself and do yourself and be courageous, be vulnerable. You know, yeah, man. But do you with the fan thing. So let's go.
You gotta get it today, dog. The shoes only match the jersey, bro. It's just that these shoes right here, it's just saying
Fuck, man, I got 12 minutes left. We got 9 minutes for the video. He's walking in. Okay, here we go. Here we go. This is good. This is good. Gonna have to talk real fucking quick. It's okay, though. You're gonna see it.
time out. You ready?
Let's get it, baby.
Make history.
None of this is scripted, by the way. Watching all this the first time again. I wrote some notes down on some social theory. I'm gonna try to, if we can. All right.
You guys right here going crazy right here, baby.
Shout out. Yo, shout out LeBron. You know who it is. Too hype high. You want to do a second quarter?
Huh? Second quarter? They want to do a second quarter? Yeah, second quarter. Yeah, surprise quarter.
Favorite power forward all time, Dirt. And my favorite player all time, LeBron. I like his poster.
Yeah, Cash isn't the only one with t-shirts and all types of shit after players and saying hello. Fancy stuff. Streamers, I don't know, all types of stuff people want on site.
Come on, love! Let's go, love!
Big body bumping.
Come on, he's flopping, bro. Trying to flop, man. Bro,
Of course, you know what's going on in the heart. I don't get too much free time.
let's go, bro. Yeah. Got a good little message for you next quarter.
So he hinted at something there. Got a message for you next quarter.
Well in the water.
That's his job, man.
You get signed for that, bro.
All right, man.
This is the president. This is the president of the United States, dog.
Yo,
Guys, 5 years we'll be here, bro.
How my shirt look? How my shirt look, man?
Look, bro.
9 minutes, 7 minutes. Man, this thing's just dying, eh? Maybe I just plug it in. Hold on.
Damn, bro. You look at slap? Yeah, man, do something about that. It's like the third time security comes get me.
Oh, there it is, man. I don't want
This
to
is my
miss
third time doing this, man.
this. Security manager, it's third time.
Why shit third time tonight?
Fuck.
I'm here on social media. I'm on YouTube. Yeah, I know you. Cash somebody, huh? So long, come up here.
Oh man, no. Okay. Okay, are we still
Yeah,
good
you
here?
kicked me out, huh? I knew I got kicked out on one now, man.
Yo, okay, let me go back here. That's not fair to Cash. That's not fair to Cash. Let me go back here. I'm sorry about that. Yo, my camera battery is gonna die. Let's put it back, okay? So what's going on here? So Cash, you know, he's being a fan. Let's be serious. There's, I don't know, like 45,000 people yelling at LeBron James right now. If you don't know who LeBron James is, he's pretty much Superman when it comes to basketball. The guy is, you know, like 6'8" and 280 pounds or some shit. Like, you know, I'm pretty sure they will cast him in the next Superman movie once he's done basketball. So, you know, he's just a fucking massive physical specimen. He's a big dude. So people are yelling, people are, you know, the game's going on. So let's go back here. What I'm saying is I don't think he's under any physical threat from CashNasty or anyone. Just saying.
This is my third time doing this, man. Oh, man. Why shit third time tonight? I'm here on social media. I'm on YouTube. Yeah, I know you. Cash somebody, huh? So long, come up here.
That was it.
2 million followers. You ain't gonna kick me out, huh? I knew I got kicked out on one now, man. What for? Huh? What for? Oh, something. We good right here. I put it on Twitter. And I said, I'm gonna go on court and run to LeBron. I said it on Twitter. Okay, man, you are?
Twitter post.
NBA. Okay, I know you work in NBA.
Okay, let's pause. To clarify, so I did have some kind of previous understanding of what had happened here because, you know, I'm on Twitter nowadays. Everyone's on social media. And I follow everyone that I think is awesome. And I support their work. And Cash must have tweeted or something, I guess, here. You know, and then maybe he was at the game and he tweeted. Maybe he tweeted before he went to the game. I don't know the specifics of that exactly. But, so like floor level security guards, the security manager, no. So that obviously indicates that higher levels of people in both the facility and maybe possibly just the NBA itself were already aware of this. I did hear some mention in comment sections and other things that other other YouTubers have gone to NBA games, and there have been some controversy around them attending the games and saying they're going to run on, or security and different things. I did see earlier in the year there was the guy who looks like Klay Thompson. I believe his name's Big Dawes TV. That's cool. Like, but he sat behind the bench, and there was one play I think where they were coming down on the fast break, and he put his hands up and like they were kind of calling for the pass. That was kind of hilarious, but also like, you know, gray area sort of thing. But I don't think that's a problem. Of course, you know, he's like literally like he was 3 or 4 rows back. He wasn't on the court. You're not going to pass to somebody 3 or 4 rows back, even if they look exactly like a player. It's just probably not going to happen. So, don't know what happened with the other YouTubers or whatever that went to NBA games. But what we're establishing here is that some kind of arbitrary power, some kind of investigative, some kind of whatever thing was done here, maybe prior to Cash attending, maybe while he was attending, and then also monitoring his social media. And why that's problematic is because, like, you know, I was part of the activist anarchist community or whatever, and self-censorship and stuff like that, and also police surveillance is also very predominant in these communities. Like, I have a friend who's an injured worker, and he gets stressed out sometimes, and he posts on Facebook. That's what he does, right? When you vent, sometimes you post, sometimes you're reaching out to people when you post. Oftentimes that's exactly what he's doing. He's doing both. And so he posted a status on Facebook. And because of his political activities in terms of Occupy, in terms of organizing around injured worker issues, police wanted to like either get him to take down the post or actually issue some kind of mental health, sort of hold on him, like take arbitrary custody over his body and put him in a hospital or put him in some kind of facility, simply because he was talking about how he should engage in a hunger strike, like literally not eat, a political act of not eating, to raise awareness around the issue of injured workers. Why this is relevant here? Because, like I was saying, while this little small personal human drama or little small speck in this huge, matrix of society we live in is going on, there's larger themes at stake as well too. Like, there's white supremacy is prevalent. We live in, a society where oppressive power functions through institutions, culture, and at the individual level all at the same time. Power functions unequally. And this is an example of that. Like, I wonder how many white people, to be honest, and I don't mean biologically, I mean people that fit into the category of whiteness, just a socially constructed category of whiteness. And to specify there, you have like some people being called, some people fitting in and some people fitting out. But we'll get out to in-groups and out-groups after. And basically, like, it's arbitrary power that's, being used against Cash, and then also that's not being used against other people. Like, Lost and Unbound would be another example of a YouTuber who incited some hateful things he said towards specific basketball players. I have video footage of him where I recorded from YouTube where he's ripping the shirt. Other people are burning jerseys and all that sort of stuff, and they're saying very mean things about certain communities and certain members from those communities. And, like, all of that's going on, and nobody's checking on their shit, I don't think, to the extent that they're policing somebody like Cash. So, I just want to make that perfectly fucking clear that power is not functioning equally here, if people can see that. And, so yeah, maybe we can just go a little deeper here and see what's going on.
I posted on Twitter myself.
I know you're probably taping this, right?
Oh!
Yeah, I am.
Sorry, getting back to that one, just quick thing, because I'm really dumb. So on YouTube, a lot of content creators and content creators from specific communities are having problems around demonetization, cultural censorship, and problems with self-definition. I watch videos all the time where people are like, I don't know what to upload to YouTube, I don't know if it's going to get demonetized, I don't know who's going to police my language, and it's people that are identifying themselves. It's not people from outside of their social groups that are using hateful labels and those sorts of things who continue to do whatever they want in terms of certain people. Like, we all know, the content creators that use racist words and different things in their thing, and they just keep rolling, man, with millions of views and people. But other content creators are losing money and stuff like that, and they're just trying to be themselves, just trying to be authentic to themselves, and just trying to define their own communities. And I would definitely put Cash in there, especially in an example like this, because he's talking about his right to political speech. And I understand that at an event, somebody posts some shit, I'm going to run on something, I'm going to jump up on stage. Some problems with that. But again, like, you're dealing with, like, a Superman on the court who's probably, could dodge bullets and be impervious to a locomotive on the fast break, because he is every night anyways. And then CashNasty, who's just, hyping some shit up and doing his life on YouTube and stuff like that. He's really not out to hurt anyone at all. In fact, he's trying to help the world. So let's just get that straight, and then let's keep it moving.
I'm from Somerville.
Okay.
But, you know what Somerville is, right?
Yeah.
Coming after you, you go to
Yeah. But, I mean, you're making an accusation of it.
Yes, I am.
Gotta give me a warning thing or whatever.
No, we're not gonna be your one. We're gonna walk you out the building. It's a trespasser.
Oh, so I gotta leave now?
Yeah, because unless you can prove that you didn't say that.
Well, you the one who wanted my Twitter though.
No, I didn't. New York did. The NBA.
Oh my God! Oh my God! I don't even believe in God. I gotta come up with a different expression. Oh my salt. So what the fuck, man? I'm heated at this one. So they just told him they're throwing him out because of the shit he posted on Twitter. Twitter. Do you know what I post to Donald Trump on Twitter? Do you know what I post to, like, my prime minister on Twitter? Do you know what I post, like, about social injustice on Twitter every fucking day? I was just shit-talking Jordan Peterson about how he's weak in theory and he shouldn't even have a job, while the most of us are, like, really good at this shit and are underemployed, you know what I mean? So, like, yeah, but, so, the NBA in New York. Where's this game? This is Cleveland? Are they on? Yeah, they look at their home court, I think. I think they're in Cleveland. I gotta double check that. So, the NBA. So clearly the NBA is monitoring social media content creators. Let's hear that one more time out loud for the whole YouTube community. The NBA, if you're like a basketball-related content creator, will monitor your social media and your creative presence in the world on different media platforms based on your form of political expression and how you choose to carry yourself in the world. Like, I'm an anarchist, man, and I'm not getting down with some of this stuff at all. Like, you know, this is why I don't like corporations and large institutions like this. I think they hurt the craft of, like, artistry, of basketball, of creating videos, of whatever, you know what I mean? I think they censor us, and I think oftentimes they exempt themselves from the same rules that they would apply to us otherwise. So, like, that's something that I want to, you know, point out. And, like, in my experience, like, I have a poster up there. I was a university student. I'm a dropout, by the way. Ooh. And a poster there from community organizing against police violence from, like, I don't know, 2012. It was a while ago, 2013, something like that. And the principal at my division of the university went on my social media, and he had printed out like 30 pages of my social media. And he brought it to my department head's meeting, because I was working for my department at the time. I was doing what's called work study, where you do research and you do other forms of outreach to help the department, and they pay you. They pay you like minimum wage, you know what I mean? I was doing like 20 hours a week of that or something. And so I was doing these community events. That's exactly what I was doing, actually, for my pay and for different things like that. And I did a community event. I did one on anarchism and existentialism, and then this was we did another one on migrant workers and stuff like that, actually, was the second one, and then this was the third one. And so there was a huge meeting. I wasn't invited, obviously. I was exempted, right? But between my department head and the principal of my university, and they basically said that I would be on the hook for doing this stuff, and they were going to charge me $11,000. And they were, like, serious and shit like that. And so we were like, what the fuck is all this shit? Like, I'm working for the university, and like, da-da-da-da-da-da. Like, I didn't even book the rooms. Like, literally, my department head, shouts out to Bernie Hammond, he had booked all this stuff for me. And it was just like empty-ass threats that they were talking wild and stuff. But like as a result of that, my program had a really hard time later, after I left, trying to do certain events and stuff like that, and faced increased self-censorship. Basically, they just really didn't want anyone talking about police violence and institutional violence as, you know, as it functions in our daily lives. And they got really annoyed at that. And I'm just a student. So like when my principal was making threats like that I was going to be financially accountable, or like I was exempt from my thing, or maybe like, you know, I shouldn't be at school there, kind of, that wasn't said, but it kind of felt like that. It's not cool, man, because it censors me. And I'm like a really good student in terms of community organizing and trying to bring philosophy down to the community level. So like that's what I went to school for, and this is what I want to do in life. So when shit like that happens from arbitrary and institutional power, and you have no real way of dealing with it, man, it can feel really tough, and it can feel really dehumanizing. So I hope Cash feels cool here, and I just want to point out that it's really cool that he has Mal with him, actually, because when shit like that goes down, it's really important to have your friends and stuff like that with you, or if they can call shit out for you or whatever it is, it's just super important. So I'm going to stop talking now. I've been talking a lot, and I'm just going to let this thing play through to its end, and then we're going to react at the end.
Well,
Come on, okay? Modalities and thing.
alright, bro.
Joking with your bullshit.
I never joked around on the cousin like that, bro. I know about it. I know. Trust me. I understand that you may, you know.
You fucking understand Cash, man. If you're walking the guy out the building, you don't understand Cash. Fucking don't say you understand. That's a dumb thing to say right now. Say I don't understand.
Joking, whatever.
Right.
So NBA takes all that crap very seriously, and there's not a zero tolerance. There's a zero tolerance, but not necessarily.
I mean,
so they send us the alerts.
Yeah, but are you monitoring white fans' Twitters? Let's be serious. They say more vile shit about black athletes than anyone. Let's be fucking real, okay? You're gonna police Cash, but you're gonna let all that other shit go? You got burning jerseys in the street and kids walking down with fucking torches. And you think Cash is posing you a problem?
you said the album going forward.
Not feeling it. Not feeling it. I'm angry. Just gonna say that. Doesn't make sense.
But I mean, you said I'm gonna run on court, man. That's what you said. I see that. No, see that. You deciphered it.
NBA sends us a message with your picture, your Twitter account, and they tell us an alert. This person is threatening to run on court. That's what we get. What we do is we respond. We find the person.
Okay, fair. Understand it. Public safety. I'm going to rock with you 100% on that. There has to be some kind of accountability mechanism. And I'm just joking that LeBron's got to deal with it. He doesn't. You know, he doesn't need that in his life. But he's got bigger fish to fry, and he faces racism every day, just like a lot of people facing different forms of oppressive power. So What I do want to say, though, is that, again, the NBA is doing nothing about white fans that are running around doing fucking crazy shit all the time. They'll have, like, parties burning fucking players' things in barrels, drinking beers, yelling crazy shit. They'll have, you know, interviewers saying crazy wild shit on certain TV stations and all types of shit. They'll demonize an individual, and then they'll, by proxy, also, you know, make deviants of an entire social group and things like that. You hear it every fucking day, man. So, like, you know, not buying it.
You're going to read the foundation, boom, bring it up here, and then we discuss this. We see where you're coming from.
Okay. Fix the situation.
You're not speaking.
Give him his fucking money.
I leave the
Because we're not going to threaten. What if you're conduct? What if you do run on the court?
Alright, so.
And they say, well, you guys had it.
Yo, give him his fucking money back. Straight. That's the first thing you should do.
I'm getting kicked out of the arena because of some tweets or other people saying I'm wrong.
You're fucking shitting on his experience.
Yeah. It'll be up there tomorrow, so. Okay. Well, Commissioner, let me out, man. Get my stuff.
Just so you know, this is for our interest.
I know, man. I'm getting kicked out the building, man. Wow.
Yo, this is a political issue. When people say they don't want to be political life happens all the time anyways. You know what I'm saying? Buying a shoe from Nike's political. You go shopping in a store, the shoe costs $800 or $100, whatever the fuck, you know. It's political. This is political. This is political. Political's gonna happen whether you want political or not. Political's happening.
Okay, so, and I'm church passing.
No, right now, we're not testing us now, we're putting you out and we don't want you to come back. If you do come back, then we can give you a arrest for trespassing.
And what's the reason why I'm getting kicked off again?
Because we feel you was a threat to run on the court.
Okay. And
The statement that you made.
Okay, so I made a statement on Twitter, and you said on Twitter that I said I was gonna run on court. You said that, right?
And huggle around.
Okay, and I said it on Twitter. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
Might not be the exact words, but that's
Oh, no,
that's
not even close. But I mean, you know, look at my homeboy, my clothing. You know.
Notice how the NBA and the state, like, you know, the police are right there, right with the NBA.
Bro,
and of course, it's not questioning what the NBA would have to say on the subject.
Court to run, I guess, to run to LeBron James.
Right? Do you see how the state back, you know, corporate and institutional power?
Third time, man. Go big on
it has
social media,
to.
bro. Like, people.
It's not going to take cash.
That's crazy, man.
That's the show. All right.
Man, you take a picture like I'm a dog or something, man. What's going on, man? Come on, bro.
They have to put them in the database now. That's a whole other thing. That's a whole next. That's the next. Banned, and now you're always in the database. And you know what, Cash? I'm going to tell you something real right now. That database probably isn't even the NBA database. It's probably just a state database. He's probably going to, or it's both, actually. It's probably, you know, more than likely it's both. But that's how this shit works, man. They're going to put you in the state somewhere, and you're going to be somewhere else. And that's going to be on some cop's fucking screen or somewhere else. You know, this happened to me when I was really young, man. And I lost a lot of life for some dumb shit. And but yeah, man, like, so that's what's happening here, man. Like, you see that they criminalize cash, and they exempt themselves, and, you know, the people that are in dominant positions of power, i.e. those who are fitting into the social category of whiteness, from ever facing the same kind of policing, the same sort of self-scrutiny. Like, I don't have to worry about what the fuck I say on YouTube. I don't gotta worry about it. You know what I mean? Because the world works in my favor, or whatever it is right now. You know what I'm saying? But some people do, man, because their lives are at stake, their families are at stake, their social power is at stake, man, their communities are at stake. You know what I'm saying? And the saddest thing of all is that people want to enforce these kind of things, like workers, you know, from our own communities and stuff like that. You can see it in their eyes when they're doing shit like this, and they don't like it. I'm just going to leave it there. They know what they're doing, they don't like, but institutional power tells them that they have to, and it tells them that the morality they're using is right, even though it might be unethical.
On at the parking garage, on any property, in the parking garage, and the exit arena, for any event.
Okay.
He's banned, basically, and he's in a database now.
Alright. Let's go, man.
And it's because they thought he was a threat. They used the language of threat. Their existence, the existence of the game, the existence of the sport, whatever it was under threat. Really? I don't think that's how it works with this shit. and I'm going to talk about that after, I think these are opportunities for them to exercise and flex their state power on us. I don't think Cash was a threat at all. But I think the NBA wanted to make an example of him so that other players, or sorry, other YouTubers, other content creators didn't think like him, didn't want to talk like him, didn't want to exist like him in the world, didn't want to do the things he aspired to do or whatever it was, you know what I'm saying, that was causing them a problem. And this time it might be just getting an autograph or something like that, but what if it's critiquing an institution? What if it's talking about something that's unjust or unfair? What if it's a little further next time? What if it's a little bit bigger, even though this is quite big too?
Oh man.
All right, y'all.
All right.
Hey, we out.
Yeah. Wow. God damn. From the fucking damn. Game 6. What?
We really kicked out.
We really
6
got
months,
kicked out. Damn.
Damn.
Is it only 6 months, or how's that work?
That's great cash. That's
Tell me
my
what's
first
up.
time ever getting kicked out of game with you,
I
bro.
know that.
Both.
I know that.
Both, right? I think
This
both
is why
of
we
them.
came here for, y'all.
I
To
hate-
get LeBron James' attention,
I
to
hate
get
to say all
autograph.
for nothing, man.
They kicked me out.
We're outside now.
I hope the Cavs still win. Playing on here for weeks, y'all. Playing here for weeks. And so it's heartbreaking, bro. It really is, Mal. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro.
Well, guys, I'm disappointed. It was just a plan that, you know, it didn't.
I don't know how I could have predicted this outcome. I don't think no one could have. But got kicked out, first NBA game ever, banned 6 months for the arena. And Malcolm said that LeBron actually looked at me, the shirt.
Agreed.
I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hit the like button if you guys
All right.
liked it.
So there it is, Cash. Thank you for the video. I'm sorry about your experience, my dude. You too, Mal. Thank you for all your participation. I'm sorry about your experience too, my dude. So I'm just going to talk for about 2-3 minutes on this right quick. So I looked at some social theory before we got into this. I ain't going to go unpack, you know, a large thing about racism or all types of stuff. I'm just going to say that I think oppressive power, you know, properly understood, functions through institutions, culture, and like words and media and stuff like that, and then also interpersonal interactions. You know, people have talked about oppression feeling like a bird cage. That is to say, all the wires look really, really small and really thin, as if a bird could fly through them or around them or away from them, but it's the network of wires and the ways in which they constantly press against the bird's freedom and the way it tries to fly that constitutes oppression, if that makes any sense. So, another thing too with racism is it's a difficult conversation for somebody who doesn't experience. Right now I fall into the category of whiteness, but when people find out, you know, certain things about my identity or my political beliefs, then that could hinder that, but it doesn't really. But anyways, what I was going to say with that is that, you know, it's like a fun house, so to speak. We're all in a different social location in the world. We don't, you know other people's pains or lived experiences, and oftentimes we can't see them, even though we might be placed, you know, 10 feet in front of them or right beside them. There's sorts of different barriers and stuff like that that might be invisible to us as they operate through institutions, culture, and at the individual level. So what we're talking today about is bans and exemptions, and I was using the social theory of Agamben, Giorgio Agamben, and basically he says that the initial, like, one of the characteristics of a state is, like, first it has to have, like, an initial act of violence, and an initial act of existential violence. Like, violence has to happen for it to bring itself into existence. I live on stolen native land. For the Canadian state to exist, it literally had to decimate native populations and try to steal their property, outlaw their culture, and try to just stop their way of being in the world. You know what I mean? And only endorse one. In doing so, it declared human rights, equality, justice, and all these sorts of things, but it exempted itself and exempted the groups that were wielding the state and the groups that it wanted to favor from that. Those are the in-groups and out-groups that I was trying to maybe talk about before. So the state of exception involves bans, suspending people's rights and stuff like that, and also where the state can exempt itself. You know, so when we're having a conversation, for example, whiteness, you know, being white isn't seen as a racial identity. Whiteness isn't racialized oftentimes, and that's because it's favored by the dominant social institutions, culture, and at the interpersonal level. When white people talk to each other on the interpersonal level, they don't say, hey, my white friend to my white friend. They don't identify themselves as racialized. But when they talk about people who happen to not fall into the category of whiteness, they racialize them. Even when you see these Nazi, assholes walking down the street, they literally racialize other white people, or they call out their ethnicity even though their skin biologically happens to be white. That's why they say things like, this group won't replace us, even though that very same group was white. Or for example, the state exempted white women from many of the benefits of whiteness for a really long time, but it wasn't because they were white, it happened because they were not men, or not fit into the category of the dominant mold of whiteness at the time, which was male, able-bodied white men, heterosexual, able-bodied white men sort of thing, and still is to a large degree. People that look like, Donald Trump or something like that. And I was going to say myself, because I identify as heterosexual, I'm an able-bodied male, I happen to be, of white skin, and those sorts of things. So the state very much acts in my favor, and so do dominant social institutions, the cultural and discourses things out there, and also at the interpersonal level. So, but that's the thing. The realm of exemption is an unequal one. It always unequally applies these things. Like, look what's happening to Cash. Cash can't tweet shit, and I can go tweet shit at Donald Trump, and the CIA isn't going to walk down my house and look at me with a sniper rifle up through my sink or something. But I mean, Cash is tweeting that he wants the superstars, somebody he admires, somebody from his own community's fucking autograph, and they're like, banning him for 6 months and putting him in terrorist watch list type shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's honestly fucked up. The other thing too is that, those very same state officers and agents could do whatever the fuck they want. They can run on the court. They can do all types of crazy shit. They can ask fucking LeBron when his back's turned for an autograph. All types of crazy shit like that. They would never, ever let Cash do that shit, clearly, but they do it themselves. So, it's clear that the state of exemption is never an equal playing field. It's always in favor of those who are wielding the state. And look at how the NBA came to the state's the state came to NBA's aid. You know what I'm saying? There's always police there, and public safety, the whole thing. And, I'm anti-authoritarian, so my stance on police, I'm going to make it just open and transparent here, is I don't think we need the institution, but I'm not against the people. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm trying to say. People are workers, but I don't think the institution, we don't need all that money. We can do things our own way, but that's another day. That's another life. But so, the state of exemption involves unequal social power and unequal privilege and access to social institutions, access to culture, and access to interpersonal interactions. You know what I mean? That's what I'm just trying to bring home to all of y'all. So the foundation of the state's the initial act of violence. It exempts one group, favors the other. It applies bans to one while letting another one apply bans to anyone. So, for example, any everyday white person can go and maybe get away with some shit. The state will protect them and do different things, but somebody else does that, that's unequal. And then also, what I was going to say is, there's examples of political violence where people at, Trump rallies have, there's a counter-protester at a Trump rally, and they're saying, immigrants aren't illegal, no one is illegal, or something like that. And then you have a Trump supporter that punches the guy in the face, or kicks the lady in the stomach, and then, that Trump supporter's not escorted out of the building or anything like that, or has to leave the arena. In fact, the police are right there beside them, giving them high fives, taking pictures with them, and all types of shit. So that's going on, and that's an everyday society. And then it applies to YouTube as well too. We got to talk about these demonetizations and all this shit, because Cash is out here just trying to make his living and trying to support his family and so are a lot of communities. So they trying to censor that shit too. He can't talk on Twitter. He can't make certain YouTube videos without facing demonetization and stuff like that. Now he can't go to social events and be himself. So look at all this unequal form of power and privilege that's functioning through institutions here. And privilege isn't just one person's tall, one person's small. Privilege is, the fact that some things are unearned, unfair, unequal, and they favor certain people and disadvantage certain people as it functions through institutions, cultures, and at the interpersonal. I'm just trying to knock this shit out so we all get clear. So, this isn't weird. This is normal. This is a normal and essentializing part of the state. So, and forms of oppressive violence. So, when they said you're a threat, this is not the first threat. And in fact, they grow stronger with every threat. If Cash is a threat now, then they're going to stop 10 Cashes in the future. And by doing so, they're going to have even more people on social media policing yourself. If that makes sense. They'll have more people behind the screens watching what we say on social media and on Twitter now. So what they do is, it's an existential opportunity. None of these things are actual threats. They're not threats to the game. They're not threats to the craft of basketball. They're not threats to LeBron's livelihood. They're not threats to the police officers there. No, they're not threats to nobody. But what's going on is it's an opportunity. the opportunity for the state to flex, an opportunity for the NBA and state to have more securitization, more control over YouTubers or content creators or people voicing any kind of anything that's outside of what they want, or the range of political discourse or spectrum that they'll allow, or the range of political participation when you're at a game. Like you can wear certain shirts that say, you know, F this player and they're scumbags and whatever, and they could be racially motivated, but Cash trying to get the autograph is like, you know, they blow it to the proportion that he's, you know, doing something incredibly socially foul or something like that, and I don't think that's fair. So we're going really long here. I just want to make that all perfectly clear, that they're rendering one group, you know, good, and one group another, and favoring one and antagonizing another. And I mean, I think we can go just quickly a little further into Agamben's theory here. He talks about homo sacre. So actually, you know what? At 44, I think I'm going to cut it. I think I'm going to cut it here. We're going to cut it here. I think this is going to be good. I think this is going to be a new day, new life. This is it. We're going to save it. So yeah, man. I don't know. This is a tough one. It's a tough one. I feel for Cash a lot on this one, and I hope maybe this helps. I don't know. Maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't. This is my reaction video. CashNasty getting banned from an NBA game, policed on Twitter, and yeah, man. So follow me if you want to follow yourself, and hopefully we get there together.